Hello, Kaigenix here. Thanks for joining me on today's Pokemon Challenge. Now, attempting Pokemon Emerald with only Grass-type babies was definitely a challenge, but also very fun. So I didn't want to end that kind of challenge too soon. So on today's Pokemon Challenge, we're going to find out if I can beat Pokemon Firered LeafGreen only using Grass-type babies. Now, for argument's sake, I'm going for Leaf Green version as I want a Bellsprout. That's also a perfect example of what a Grass baby is. This was also a big project for me with over 40 hours of gameplay, same in editing, and this also had its own challenges a bit different to Emerald, so I hope you enjoy. Now the rules are, only Grass babies in battle, no items in battle, HM Pokemon are also allowed but not in battles, no hold items in battle other than Everstones for obvious reasons, and I won't be doing any silly overtraining. Looking at the base stats for Bulbasaur, very well rounded with special attack and special defense being the greatest, totaling over 300. Now the moves that Bulbasaur can learn are equally good, very well rounded, having very many stat changing and stat effect moves that he has there. So we're going to now move on to our very first rival battle. After we pick up Bulbasaur, we call him Baby Bulb. Now, obviously it goes through the tutorial telling you about HP and everything, but we're going to use a bit of a strategy here as we're going to lower his attack down as his scratch hits more than our tackle. So after we lower his attack down enough where he's only hitting 2 HP, we're going to tackle our way down, but leaving us with only 2 HP, gaining up a level. After this, we are then going to move on to our rival again on Route 22 after doing some training and after we got the parcel and everything. And we have learnt the ability Leech Seed, which is going to be very handy throughout the entire challenge. So we use Leech Seed and we're going to go with the same growl to lower the attack, and while Leech Seed does its thing, we're going to use Vine Whip to see how much damage that was going to do. Didn't do as much as I thought, so we're going to try tackle, but obviously his sand attacks doing some work here, but not too much to worry about as Leech Seed always heals us up. When he brings out his Charmander, we're going to try and get a Leech Seed in, which he evades, but we're going to keep doing it till we get Leech Seed in, which we do, and we're going to go for a couple of growls here as well, as we want to lower his attack down and lower his scratch. After we feel comfortable with that, we're going to move on to using tackle and basically tackle our way down. Obviously the sand attacks being a little bit annoying, making us miss a couple of times, but we get there in the end. We then move on to Brock, our first gym leader, which is going to be one of the easiest gym leaders, which we literally have to Vine Whip a couple of times, and that ends Brock, earning us our first badge. Then we are going to move on to Mount Moon to pick up our very first captured Pokemon, which is going to be Paris. And here are the base stats now for Paris, which again, a little bit lower than Bulbasaur, with speed being much lower, but special defense and attack being pretty good in comparison. Moves he can learn are also good for strategic values, so Paris is going to be a good asset to the team, I can assume. So we're now going to move on to our rival battle on Route 24 after we've done all of Mount Moon, and we're going to go for Sleep Powder as we find out that grass types are actually weak to a few natures, especially flying and fire and things like that. So we're going to try and take out his Pidgeotto while it's asleep, using Leech Seed and a combination of Razor Leaf. So we'll get rid of his Pidgeotto. He's then going to bring out his Charmander, which we're going to keep Bulbasaur out, as he can actually tank a couple of Embers, where Baby Sect cannot. So we're going to use Leech Seed after putting it to sleep, and we're going to use a Vine Whip to see how much damage that did. Which wasn't that too bad, but we're going to go for Razor Leaf now, getting a critical to finish off his Charmander, and then we're going to switch out to Baby Sect to basically get some EXP on our rival's weaker Pokemon. We use Stun Spore, and we're going to scratch his Abra down, as obviously I forgot that using Stun Spore will also paralyze us against the Psychic type, but it's not too much of an issue as his Abra could only do Teleport. He then brings out his Rattata, which we poison. We're going to use Bullet Seed and then Poison doing a bit of its damage, and then we're going to try Scratch as he uses Quick Attack, but we get paralyzed. He then hits us with a good move which takes it out, and we bring out Bulbasaur to finish it off. We then move on to get our third Pokemon to the team, which is Bellsprout, which we obviously paralyze, scratch a little bit, and we're going to then catch it eventually. As you see here, we're using Baby Sect, and then we use a Pokeball, and we catch it, and we're going to call that Baby Trapped, and the stats for it, again, around about the same as the other twos, being in the middle, but special attack and attack being very good, and the others not so much. Movesets also good. All the grass types have pretty good moves in terms of strategical value, with like Stun Spore and things like that. So we're going to move on now to Misty, after doing a little bit of training through the routes, but not too much to worry about for Misty. So we use Baby Trapped, which we're going to get a couple of Vine Whips in to take out the Staryu. Then going to bring out Starmie, which I think we're going to switch to Baby Sect, as obviously didn't want to get taken out by Swift. We tried to do a Stun Spore, but didn't work, and then we get taken out by Water Pulse on critical. So we're now going to bring out Bulbasaur, which he uses Swift for. We use Sleep Powder, which is effective. We're then going to use Leech Seed to heal ourselves up a bit. And then we are going to switch out now for Baby Trap to try and get some XP. He uses Swift but takes him out. So we're going to have to switch back to Baby Bulb. He then uses Swift to do some good damage, but we use a Razor Lift, which is super effective. Leona with a little bit of health, but she then uses Super Potion to heal up. But this makes us be able to use 2 consecutive moves, or I thought it did, but it didn't. We took it out with Vine Whip anyway. And that's the end of Misty, gaining us our second badge. Moving on to our rival now on the SS Anne, brings out Pidgeotto again, which again, we have to actually hit with Stun Spore, otherwise his Pidgeotto will do too much damage to us, especially now him having a Charmeleon as well, so we do actually need to save our Pokemon. So we go for Stun Spore, which is good, and we're going to Acid our way down, and we didn't take any damage there on Baby Trapped. We then bring out Baby Sect, which we're going to scratch our way through the Kadabra, but he disables us, but that's fine. We'll then use Bullet Seed, which we missed, but we will keep using Bullet Seed until we get it in, which I thought it would take it out, but it didn't, so we miss, and then we just go for another scratch after he disables our Bullet Seed, but we miss again because he lowered our accuracy, but then we take his Kadabra down eventually. We now learn Spore, which is a very good move, and that's going to replace Stun Spore, as Spore is 100% accurate. He's now going to bring out his Charmeleon, which was a little bit of an issue, as one Ember would almost take our Pokemon out, and it would take Baby Sect out as well in one. So I had to use Stun Spore and try and attack it a little bit, but then Baby Trapped gets taken out. We then come to Baby Bulb, which can tank a couple of Embers. We use Leech Seed and use a Razor Leaf. He gets paralyzed, Leech Seed doing its thing, then using a Vine Whip to take out his Charmeleon. And then brings out his Raticate, which uses Tail Whip, which we're going to use Razor Leaf to do some good damage, using Hyper Fang, but then using Razor Leaf to finish off our rival. Now moving on to Lieutenant Surge in Vermilion City. He then brings out his Voltorb, which we're going to use Acid for on Baby Trapped, doing some good damage, taking out, and a couple of acids. He's then going to bring out his Pikachu, which we're going to switch to Baby Bulb, as we're going to use Razor Leaf, as I thought it would take it out in one, which it did. We're now going to move back to Baby Sec, as we're going to try and get a Spore in, as it uses Double Team, but we are successful with Spore. We're now going to use Scratch, as he uses Full Heal, and he then uses Shockwave, doing some good damage, but we get a couple of scratches in. He then almost takes us out with another Shockwave, but we use Dig and get a super effective, earning us the third badge. We now move on to our rival again in Lavender Tower. Now this guy provided us with a few problems, having his super effective Pidgeotto at the start, taking out Baby Trapped, and then his Charmeleon taking us out with a few Embers there, which was an issue. So we're going to try again with the same strategy, but we are going to use Hidden Power, as I found that was super effective against the Pidgeotto, managing to get a critical as well, which was lucky. And then obviously this guy using Reflect, but we are going to use Acid after Hidden Power not being as effective to get through his Execute. He's now going to bring out his Kadabra, which we are going to bring out our Baby Sect Force to use Scratches to take his Kadabra out eventually, after he uses a Disabled, but we use Spore, and then we're going to get a Dig in to hope that will take out the Kadabra, which it does. He's now going to bring out his Charmeleon, which is the main issue, but we bring out our Baby Bulb, which can tank a couple of Embers. We manage to get our Sleep Powder in, which we're going to now use the Sweet Thing to lower his evasiveness, so we can get a Leech Seed in, and then we're going to use a couple of Razor Leafs to do some good damage while he's still asleep. He wakes up to use Smoke Screen, which could lower our accuracy, but luckily doesn't on our Razor Leaf, and then he hits an Ember, but we manage to take him out with a Razor Leaf. He then brings out his Gyarados, which could also be considered a little bit of a problem, knowing Thrash, so we're going to bring out Baby Sect to try and get a Spore in, which he gets poisoned, which is good, but Spore misses. He then uses another Thrash, but we get a Scratch in, Poison, but now he is confused from his own Thrash, hits himself, we get another Scratch in, Poison doing its thing, and then he hits himself ending our rival in Lavender Tower. Now moving on to Erica, the 4th gym leader in Celadon City, brings out Victory Bell, which we use acid for, as it's paralysed. There was a couple of times where it would paralyse us and use acid and take us out, as you see here, but on this one, is this the one where I'm not 100% sure, we'll find out, but anyway, it was looking all good, but then it takes a turn for the worst, and then it looks good again, and then I think it gets one more acid in, taking us out. We then bring out Baby Bulb, which we use a secret power for to finish the Victory Bell out. Then brings out Tangle Lure, which we use as Ingrain. We use Leech Seed, but it doesn't work or something. So we use Secret Power, I think, or we just use a couple of Secret Powers, I missed that, to almost take it out. And then he uses Giga Drain, which heals it up a little bit with Ingrain, but then we finish it off with a Secret Power. And then it's going to bring out a Vile Plume, so we switch to Baby Sec, uses Acid to do some good damage. We use Spore to get it thing. We now know Slash as well, so we hit Slash, it then uses Sleep Powder on us, which is a little bit annoying, so we're just going to spam on Spore, hoping we wake up, which we don't, so that takes us out with Acid. We then go back onto Baby Bulb, which we use Secret Power for, hoping to get a stun, which we do. Only having a little bit of health now. We then nearly finish it off with Secret Power, but then we get turned to sleep, but as it's paralysed and we're asleep, luckily we don't actually get hit. Then get hit with 1 acid, we wake up and finish off Vile Plume with a Secret Power, earning us the 4th badge. Now moving on to Giovanni in the Team Rocket hideout, brings out Onyx, which goes down in 1 move. We then bring out Baby Bulb, which again, it's going to go out in 1 move, knowing Giga Drain. And then we're going to switch to Baby Sect, which is going to use Spore, as also this Kangaskhan has a few moves that can do some good damage against our Pokemon, which we found out, but luckily this time we got Spore in and he's only using Tail Whip. So we take Giovanni down. After which we head straight to the Safari Zone to catch ourselves a new member of the team, Execute, which we eventually get. Here's the base stats for Execute. Pretty good, being the best so far, I believe, with special attack and defense being very good. The moves he can learn as well are pretty good. Again, like I said before, all grass types have got some pretty good strategical value moves, and he can also learn a good move later on. After some training, we move on to Fuchsia City to fight Koga, which we bring out Baby Poached for. That's how I like my eggs, by the way, because he's super effective against poison types having confusion. After taking off his coffin, we then bring out Baby Sec to try and get a Spore on his Muck, as his Muck has Sludge, which is also super effective against us grass types. So that does some damage there with Sludge. He uses Toxic on Baby Poach, but we get a Leech Seed in, which does some good damage, and hopefully we can get a Confusion in to finish his Muck off after we miss 1 Confusion and hit by Poison. He uses Sludge, super effective, but we got our Confusion in to take his Muck down. He's now going to bring out his second Coffin, so we're going to go with Stun Spore, and he uses a Smoke Screen. We're then going to use a Razor Leaf as he heals up. We're then going to use Stun Spore again. He uses Sludge to do some good damage. I accidentally clicked Stun Spore and he used Self-Destruct, so that was a mistake there, but it doesn't matter too much. We then bring out Baby Bulb, which we're trying to get a Leech Seed in for, which we eventually do. If he was to use his Self-Destruct now, we would win because we would still have the Pokemon alive, so I was hoping that would happen, but obviously in the meantime what we're going to do is just basically whittle his health down with Giga Drain and Leech Seed. We're going to try and get a Secret Power in, but we miss. He uses Sludge for super effective damage. We still miss with Secret Power. He hits us again with a Sludge, doing some good damage. Still miss with Secret Power, and he finishes off with another Sludge. We now only have Baby Poach left, which Leech Seed does its thing. Poison does its thing. He uses Hyper Potion to heal up. We use Confusion that confuses him. Very lucky, as the Toxic's going to do a bit more damage soon. He hits himself with that, and we use Confusion to get it super effective, and then Leech Seed finishing him off, earning us our 5th badge. Moving on to the Black Belts in Saffron City, just while we're getting a bit of XP on our other Pokemon before we go into the Silco company, we just decided to take on the Hitmonlees and Hitmonchamp. But basically didn't go down as quick as expecting, but didn't also didn't put up much of a fight. We used Stun Spore with Baby Trapped, tries to get a Razor Leaf in, which we miss. He uses Thunder Punch, doesn't do a lot. We get Razor Leaf in, not doing as much as we thought. Sky Attack doing some good damage, using Hidden Power, him using Fire Punch to take us down. We then go to Baby Bulb to get a Secret Power in to do some good damage, using Thunder Punch, using Giga Drain to almost finish him off, using Ice Punch, and then we use a Secret Power to finish him off, defeating the Black Belt. We now move on to our rival in the Silco Company. He brings out Pidgeot. Now this was where a problem was happening, as his Pidgeot with Wing Attack was super effective against our grass types and was doing a lot of damage. So the only one that could tank that a little bit was Baby Poach, so I had to bring him out, use Leech Siege and try and get Confusion in to take him on. And we also have another issue with him now having a Charizard as well, so we're not sure how we're going to take that on yet, but we go for Elite Seed on his Gyarados, which is good. We're going to go for a double team, which I think this is the strategy we're going for, which is basically going to try and max out our evasiveness, as when we get to the Charizard we want to try and dodge his flamethrowers, which can take us out in one hit. Or so yeah, we're now raising our evasiveness up as Leech Seed's doing its thing, which is good. I think you can max it out with 6 double teams that you need to use as he tries to hit us, but Leech Seed doing its thing, and then using Giga Drain to heal our health up and take out his Gyarados. Now bringing out an Execute, which we want to try and take out without him using any kind of Paralyzed Powder or anything like that. We get lucky with a stunning him and then Secret Powering our way down through his Execute. He's now going to bring out his Alakazam, which we're going to stick with Baby Bulb because I found that when you switched out Pokemon, it got rid of the evasiveness stacks for some reason. I don't know if that was something that was implemented in the new gens, but yeah, so I just keep Baby Bulb out. This is where we get lucky. He basically misses with our high evasiveness. We get hit by Future Sight. He misses Wing Attack. We use a Secret Power to get stun. We use Giga Drain to try and heal up a little bit. He's still missing with his Flamethrower, which is what we wanted, because other times he would just literally one-hit all our Pokemon with Flamethrower. So we take down his Charizard, and that's the end of our rival. Then moving on to Giovanni, slightly easier battle, as you can tell. We're using Confusion with Baby Poach to take his Nidorino out in 1. Brings out his Nidoqueen, which we're going to switch over to Baby Sec to give it a go. Uses Double Kick, which isn't very effective. Use Spore, that makes Nidoqueen asleep. And we're going to use Slash, which does some good damage, but not the greatest. We then get Poison, because they've got Poison Touch. We use Dig to see how much damage that does. Super effective, so that's what we're looking for. We're going now for a Slash, almost taking him out. Poison taking us out basically with his double kick. Now moving on to Baby Trap to finish off the Nidoqueen with a Secret Power. He's now going to bring out Kangaskhan, which I completely forgot about. Kangaskhan could do some good damage on that, having moves like Mega Punch and other kind of punch moves. So we use Secret Power to get paralyzed and then move back onto Baby Bulb after the Baby Trap was killed. Continuing on with Secret Power, getting a critical to take down his Kangaskhan and gaining us up another level. Then it comes on to his Rhyhorn, which we take out with 1 Giga Drain, and that's the end of Giovanni. Then moving on to Sabrina in the same city. We then bring out Baby Trap that gets taken out in 1. He then uses Reflect, which we use a Secret Power for. Uses Future Sight, we use another Secret Power. Uses Hyper Potion to heal up, which we're going to use a couple of Secret Powers for after that, after paralysing ourselves, but still not getting the first Kadabra down, as I thought we would be able to do a bit more damage, as Sabrina's usually quite easy to beat, so I didn't go in this battle with a massively good strategy. Using Strength now, as I thought I'd do more damage, but I think getting hindered by the Reflect and the other screens that they put up. Using Leech Seed as Future Sight hits us, then passes, but we use Strength on the Venomoth. Uses Leech Life, which is super effective apparently. Using Confusion to do some good damage, Leech Seed doing its thing, and then finishing it off with 1 more Confusion going down. Then brings out the Mr. Mime again, which we're going to try and use a Strength for, with the Reflect Shield being down and taking it out, and gaining a level up on Baby Poach. Now moving to Baby Sec, which Alakazam is here, using Future Sight, hitting good damage with Slash, and then finishing it off with a second Slash, earning us our 6th badge. Now moving on to get the 5th and final member to the team, which is Tangela. Now after Gen 4, it became a Grass Baby, so that's good for me. But at the Elite 4, I will give it a small handicap, as it is slightly stronger than other Grass Babies, and you'll see why on its stats. So basically, it has very good defense, very good special attack, where the other stats are basically more like babyish stats, but the defense and special attack being pretty good. Now the moves you can learn, we don't actually have ingrain because I caught it at level 20, so it must have changed that for poison powder or growth or whatever. So that's why I did thought I would have that, but we didn't. Anyway, after some training, we're now going on to one of our harder battles, Blaine, the Fire Gym. So I was dreading this a little bit after, especially on Emerald after Flamming, doing some really good damage towards us, but we managed to put it to sleep with Baby Sec using Slash to take out Growlithe, then going on to Ponyta, using Fire Blast to take us out in one with Baby Trap, Sec's going to try and get a Slash in, missing with Fire Blast, then moving to Baby Tang, which we use Stun Spore for, but it gets taken out in one Fire Blast. As you can see, still gets taken out very easily, even though it's a bit stronger. Baby Bulb getting taken out in one Fire Blast. Here comes Baby Poach to try and get something in, but getting taken out with one Fire Blast. As you can tell, this kind of happened quite a lot, so it was very frustrating and took a few attempts before I could figure out what may or may not be the best strategy for this. So we go back to his Growlithe using Dig, which takes out the Growlithe in one. So I found that that was the best effectiveness for Baby Sec to do, which means, well, obviously attempt that if I can get to the Arcanine. Using Strength with Baby Poach was also good against Ponyta. Moving now onto Baby Sec, Baby Tang after a few levels training, hopefully to get the speed up, but wasn't fast enough. And then we get a Leech Seed in after they miss a Fire Blast, which is lucky. We try and get a Confusion in, but we almost get taken out, leaving us with 2 HP, very jammy. We tries to use Fire Spin, but misses. We get a Strength in and Leech Seed finishing off his Rapidash. Now moving on to his Arcanine, which we're going to try and get a Leech Seed in, but obviously get taken down with a takedown. So we then bring out Baby Bulb, which we managed to get a Leech Seed in, having its speed now faster. Fire Blast taking us out in one, but at least we have Leech Seeded it. We now come out with Baby Trap, so it does some good damage. We use Secret Power, which I was hoping to get a Stun Spore, but he misses with a Fire Blast, and we get another Secret Power in before getting hit with a Fire Blast. And then Baby Sec coming out and Leech Seed finishing off the Arcanine, earning this our 7th badge. Now moving on to Giovanni, the final gym leader. Going to be quite easy as he has a couple of rock types. So we obviously use Baby Tang to use Mega Drain to take out his Rhyhorn, which then bring out his Nidoqueen, which is going to switch to Baby Poach. As we know, Confusion is super effective, taking that out in 2, keeping Baby Poach out for his Nidoking. Him then using Thrash to do some okay damage, but we use a Confusion to make him confused and hit himself. Second Confusion taking his Nidoking down. He's now going to bring out the Trio, which we switch to Baby Bulb to tank his Earthquake, and then use a Giga Drain to finish that off. He's now going to bring out his Rhyhorn again, which we go to Baby Sec to use a Giga Drain to defeat his Rhyhorn in one hit, earning us our 8th and final badge. Now, our rival battle again on Route 24 after he's done some training to get himself ready for the Elite Four. We attempted this a few times, as you can see here at 55. His Charizard now is just going to rip through every single Pokemon that I have with literally one Flamethrower or a Wing Attack. So at this point I was thinking, how am I going to do this? Do I need to use the same strategy that I used before in the Silco Company? Or is it a speed issue? So I trained everyone up to level 60. Well, everyone but Baby Tang, so I thought maybe it was a speed issue, but still, as you can see here, just getting taken out with his Flamethrowers. It was just too... His Charizard was just too quick. I even went on an old game that I had with a Charizard on at level 60 to see what his speed stats were, and his speed stats were very high. So even when I calculated if I just trained up Baby Tang for a bit, it wouldn't have actually been enough speed. It was impossible with that, so I had to go for a strategy here, which involved Baby Tang. So what we're going to do is we're going to lower the Pidgeot's attack now and defense, so it's not going to hit that much. So we then stun it as well, his Wing Attack, as we can tank a few with Baby Tang, and we're going to do our best now to just lower the Pidgeot's his attack and defense as best as possible with Tickle, probably using the max amount of Tickles or close to the max amount of Tickles before we die. Or if we die, he then gets paralyzed, which we keep using Tickles for, so basically he's not going to be very effective when we switch out for Baby Bulb. I'm going to have to go for a similar strategy like we went for in the Silco Company, as at this point I did forget that, because when I was playing this it was at different times, different days. So what we're going to do now is use Leech Seeds and double team, as we need to get our evasiveness up. He uses Feather Dance, which lowers our attack by a lot, but not too much of an issue, as we just are more bothered about our evasiveness, and obviously not getting hit by that much for his wing attack now, due to the tickles lowering his attack and defense stats. So we're just going to keep using double team until our evasiveness is maxed out, then using the secret power to finish off his Pidgeot. Now sometimes this strategy wouldn't work. His flamethrower would still hit us, and as soon as it took the Bulbasaur out, it would be the end. And also I can make mistakes with his Alakazam if I use secret power and stun myself. Now that could be a problem as well. Also, I got very unlucky there where he hit me with a Psychic, which also could kill me in the future, and he used a Future Sight as well, so I was a bit worried there that he was actually going to take me out with Future Sight. So I just at this point aimed to get the stun on, which I did, and the Leech Seed in, so I was very happy that at least I got those in before, if the Bulbasaur was going to die, but luckily it didn't. He was still missing with all his attacks and things like that, so I was thinking that potentially this time I'm finally going to be able to do it. So we're just going to keep using secret power to whittle him down. He gets stunned, Leech Seed doing its thing, and we get a secret power in, finally defeating his Charizard, which was a major thorn in my side. We've still got to fight his Charizard again in the Elite Four, which is equally going to be annoying. So we take down his Rhyhorn with one Giga Drain, and he's now moving on to his Execute, which we Stun Spore, or not Stun Spore, we use Spore for to turn him asleep, using Slash for some good damage, and then taking his Execute out with a couple of slashes. He's now going to bring out his Gyarados that we're going to bring out Baby Trap for. And then we're going to go for a secret power to try and get a, well, we get a critical, but we wanted to get a stun, but it wasn't needed, using Razor Leaf to finish off our rival. Now, after that horrendous battle with our rival, I go to Route 16 to do some training. I think it's maybe the best place to train post Elite Four. So yeah, the final team we're going with to attempt the Elite Four will be all level 70s, but Baby Tang 65 as a small handicap, I guess. We go to Lorelei. First opponent, we had a few issues with her as she knows Ice Beam. So we bring out Baby Tang, we go for Stun Spore. Ice Beam doing great damage, and then we're going to lower its attack and defense down. Another Ice Beam for Baby Tang to go down. We now bring out Bulbasaur as we're going to go for a Leech Seed as we get hit with an Ice Beam, as we're going to have to go with the similar strategy of raising our evasiveness up with double team as we did with our rival battle, as there was just no way of getting through to Lapras with enough HP before Blizzard would just take us out. So basically we're going to have to go for the evasiveness strategy. Unfortunately, I did try a couple of strategies, but it just didn't work. So here we are using double team, raising up our evasiveness, where we get hit by Ice Beam and unfortunately get frozen. So that was also a possibility of getting frozen. Luckily, with the stunned and us having our Leech Seed on, healing us up, and our evasiveness being quite high, not quite max, but quite high enough to defend against that. We get another evasiveness in after being unfrozen, and then going for more double teams as he safeguards, Leech Seed doing its thing. We're now at maximum, so we're going to use our thing, but unfortunately our Bulbasaur gets taken out. Lorelei again for another attempt, as we kept getting taken out with the Ice Beam from the Dugong, so we're going to go for a different strategy. We use Stun Spore, he safeguards. We then use a Tickle to lower its attack and defense, using Hail to do some damage to us over time. We're going to use another Tickle as it uses an Ice Beam to take our health down quite a lot. We're then going to use a Mega Drain to heal up a little bit and do some good damage as the Ice Beam hits us and takes us out. We're now going to move on to Baby Trap, where we're going to get a Razor Leaf in, which finishes off the Dugong. Now we're going to switch out for Baby Sect, as we are going to attempt the same strategy of evasiveness as we were going to do on the Dugong, but on Slowbro, as Slowbro's got lower special attack, so the Ice Beam should do us slightly less damage to Bulbasaur. So we're going to bring out Bulbasaur and use double team to raise its effectiveness while it's asleep. We use Leech Seed, which hits, and then we're going to use more double teams until we max that out. He wakes up and misses with Ice Beam, which is good. We use another double team, that's 3 down. Uses Yawn, which is going to be annoying because we will be asleep, but we get our 4th double team in before we go to sleep. So we've only got 2 more double teams we want to aim to get in, as he keeps missing with Ice Beam, trying to use Yawn as well, which is getting him nowhere. And Leech Seed doing its thing, going up with Full Restore, which gives us 2 attempts to wake up. We then wake up on the 2nd attempt, getting our 5th double team in. Ice Beam hitting us, but as you've seen, not as effective as the Dewgong's Ice Beam. Leech Seed heals us up, getting our last evasiveness in. Using Amnesia, which could be an issue, but Leech Seed doing its thing, and us now using a secret power and getting it stunned. Missing with Ice Beam again, we're now going to use Giga Drain to take out the Slowbro, which is what we want. Again, I can't switch out at this point as we'll lose all the double team's effectiveness, so we use secret power on the Lapras, which stuns it, and a Giga Drain, which does good damage. It then heals up with a Statue Berry, so she's not going to use a full restore, so we finish it with one more Giga Drain, and that is the end of that Lapras. She brings out Jinx, which we use a secret power for, and we take it out in 2 secret powers. Jinx could also use Ice Punch, which would take a lot of us out, which was annoying. Now it comes to Cloyster, where it uses Hail. I'm trying to save as many of my PPs on Giga Drain and things like that, as well as I'm attempting to try and save my Ethers and Elixirs if possible. But yeah, anyway, so we switch to Baby Sec, where we're going to use a Spore, as we weren't really getting anywhere on the last one with thing. But as we turn it to sleep and we bring out Baby Poach, we're going to use Explosion. That is the move that I was going to say that was a surprise, is Explosion. So it's good. We're now going to go on to Bruno. Obviously, it's going to be the easiest Elite Four member. There's not very much we have to worry about, as he's got rock types, rock type things. So we know how to take these out. Razor Leaf is very good, and also Confusion is very good on these fighting types. So Baby Trap doing its job on the first Onyx, and Baby Poach doing its job on the Hitmonchamp. And now the Hitmonlee comes out, which uses Mega Kick to some good damage. We use Leech Seed, and we are going to go with Strength to do some good damage as Leech Seed does its thing, and we're going to finish it off with 1 Confusion. We're now going to switch over back to Baby Trapped, as it's got Razor Leaf, which has more PP than Giga Drain. So yeah, we take out the Onyx, and we're now going to switch over to Baby Tang for the Hitmonchamp, which we Stun Spore. It uses Bulk Up, where we're going to just bulk that back down with Tickle, and he uses Scary Face to lower our speed. We use another Tickle to lower his defense. He uses Cross Chop, and then we're going to switch out for Baby Poach, where here he uses Scary Face to lower our speed. We use Explosion to take his Machamp out. That's now Bruno down. And now moving on to Agatha. Agatha gave us a few problems, as she usually does in the Elite Four, knowing Dream Eater and Hypnosis. So the best strategy I come up with was using Baby Poach and confusing our way through the first Gengar, then switching out to Baby Bulb for the Arbok, where we're going to use Leech Seed, and I think we're going to attempt to get it stunned with a secret power, or maybe use a base. No, we actually switch out for Baby Tang, my bad, as we're going to attempt to get a Stun Spore on. It knows Sludge Bomb, which is effective against Grass type, so getting 2 Sludge Bombs on, nearly taking out Baby Tang. We get our Stun Spore in, which we're happy with, and Leech Seed healing us up a bit. We managed to get a Tickle in as well, as it gets paralyzed, so things are going a bit better than I thought they were going to go. We get our double ledge in to take out Arbok, and then we switch out Baby Tang now for Baby Poached, as she's bringing out another Gengar, her strongest Gengar, using Sludge Bomb to nearly take us out, but we get a Leech Seed in. This was the problem as well. If it was used Hypnosis and then use a couple of Sludge Bombs, that would be the end, or Dream Eaters would be the end as well. So we bring out Baby Tang, which basically doesn't do that much other than heals up a bit, takes a bit of the brunt with the Leech Seed. We then managed to get a Spore in through Baby Sect when we switch him out, and Leech Seed doing its thing. We're then going to try and use a Giga Drain to just heal up a little bit. We're trying not to get it, we want to use its Statue Berry basically. We're trying not to get a full restore used. We're then going for a Dig here, which I know isn't going to happen, but I thought maybe get a couple more Leech Seeds in as Levitate happens. Leech Seed doing its thing, Poison doing its thing. We're then going to go for a Giga Drain, as a full restore did happen, but I thought I would be able to sort that out in a different way. I don't know. Then switch out for a Golbat, which we use Spore for to turn it asleep, and then we go for Slash here, which does some good damage. It wakes up using Air Cutter to take out Baby Sect. We're now going to move back to Baby Bulb, where Air Cutter does some good damage. We use Secret Power to do some good damage. Another Air Cutter doing some good damage towards us, but then we take it out with another Secret Power. We're now going to move back to Baby Poach, as a Haunter's coming out. So we're going to use Leech Seed as Hypnosis Mists. Now we get very lucky here, as the Hypnosis keeps missing. If the Hypnosis got us, it was pretty much the end, as it would just use Full Restore, or use Dreamy, use whatever it needed to do to basically top up. But it kept missing with Hypnosis, so we defeated the Haunter. And now for the final Gengar that's still Leech Seeded, we get Confusion in, which confuses it the best thing possible, and we finally finish it with one more Confusion. And that's the end of Agatha. Now, moving on to Lance. Now, the only issues I was thinking Lance might give us is with the Dragonite. So I've got a strategy for that. But anyway, we go for Baby Tang using Stun, and Tickle. We're going to lower the defense and the attack of the Gyarados, and then we use a Mega Drain to heal up a bit as he's stunned. We're now going to switch out for Baby Bulb as he uses Bitiness to use Leech Seed. Bite again, which isn't that effective, especially with Leech Seed doing its thing. We'll now switch back out to Baby Tang as he gets paralyzed to heal up a little bit, as we then now switch out to Baby Trapped. Hyper Beam missing. We're now going to use a Solar Beam, Dragon Rage doing some good damage, getting healed up, and then Solar Beam finishing off the Gyarados. It then brings out an Aerodactyl, so we're going to go back to Baby Tang to get a Stun Spore in as he uses Wing Attack for some okay damage, but as Baby Tang's our tanker, it's pretty good. We use Tickle to lower its attack and defense, and then use a Mega Drain to heal up, and then he uses Scary Face to lower our speed. We use another Mega Drain to heal up as he uses Scary Face, and now I think he's faster than us. He uses Wing Attack, so we're going to go for another Tickle, and then we're going to go for another Mega Drain as he uses Wing Attack. And I think now we're going to switch out for Baby Trapped as we're going to use a Razor Leaf to finish off the Aerodactyl. He then brings out his Dragonite. So the plan here is to stun the Dragonite, because I think this would be the issue if I didn't get it stunned. So luckily we're still faster than Dragonite somehow, but he takes us out with Outrage. We now bring out Baby Trapped, which we're going to go for a Secret Power. He's paralyzed. We go for an Acid to attempt to lower his defense, but we get a critical. But then he takes us out with Outrage. We're now going to bring out Baby Poach, and I didn't want to risk it, so I just thought Explosion. And that's the end of Dragonite. We're going to bring out Baby Sect, so he's only got 2 Dragonairs left now. So he safeguards, we use Slash to do some really good damage. He uses Dragon Rage, set damage of 40. He uses another Dragon Rage as Spore Miss, so we go for a Giga Drain, which didn't do that much. He goes for another Dragon Rage, we get Slash and take out his first Dragon Air. He then brings out his last Pokemon, his last Dragonair, which we Leech Seed for, uses Thunder Wave, which is a bit annoying, and we're going to go for, again, Secret Power. At this point, I've not actually had to use any others or elixirs as well to top up, so I've just been using the moves that I've had left. And I think just before... Now, onto our final rival battle. Now, this provided me with loads of problems, as you can imagine. So, as I had a strategy to lower the Pidgeot's attack and defense with Tickle and stunning it, and then move into the Bulbasaur, where we would use our evasiveness to basically try and do the same strategy we have been using. But Pidgeot knows Whirlwind, so if it uses Whirlwind and it makes us change our Pokemon out, it basically makes our Bulbasaur useless in that sense. And I've only got, I think, 9 double teams left as well, so if I use up like past the marker, so past 3, and then uses Whirlwind, it's no good, because obviously we need maximum evasiveness to get through his Charizard, knowing Fire Blast, which would take us out in 1. So on this attempt we actually get very lucky. He doesn't use Whirlwind, I think. As you can see here, we're getting to bulk up and then we take it out. So this time he didn't use Whirlwind, but I don't think we used the maximum amount of double teams. We used a few, and then I didn't want to risk it, so we took it out early. And we're now going to try and get a Leech Seed on his Alakazam, as we get really lucky with him missing 3 Psychics in a row. Then Future Sight hitting us, doing some good damage. Psychic missing again. If the Psychic would have hit us, it would have taken us out, which would have been the end of the run. Has done in the past. So again, that's like the 5th Psychic now missing, as we get another double team in, using Giga Drain, as we don't want to get the stun effect on from Secret Power. And then he uses Full Restore, which I think we have enough Giga Drains left, because I topped him up with a Ether, as I think Baby Bulb is the only one that I used Ether on. For this was going to be the only strategy we had. So finishing the Alakazam off with a Secret Power, as there was no risk there. Now we want to get a Leech Seed on the Charizard as he brings it out. He misses with Fire Blast. I wasn't sure if he had Flamethrower as well, but yeah, he keeps missing with Fire Blast. There's only 2 more that we need to get him to miss, so he's now on his last Fire Blast that we need to miss, as his health is down, but he heals up with his Thatcher Berry, and he misses with his final Fire Blast, so there's no worries of getting one-hitted with that now. He then uses Full Restore as we attempt to do our Secret Power, and with the sudden attacks as well that the Pidgeot gave us is a little bit annoying. He uses Aerial Ace to take our Baby Bulb out. which was a little bit annoying. We'll go to Baby Tang now, which he's only got Aerial Ace 4, so I actually thought maybe we were going to die if he did have Flamethrower, but he's got Fire Spin instead, which is much weaker. So Leech Seed doing its thing, Baby Tang almost getting taken out, but then getting taken out with a fresh Fire Spin. We then move over to Baby Poach, which he uses Slash on, we use Confusion, and that's the end of his Charizard, the biggest threat. He now brings out his Gyarados, which he uses Dragon Rage, doing some good damage. We use Confusion, which wasn't very effective. Dragon Rage doing some more good damage. We use Leech Seed, and he uses Bite to almost take us out. We flinch, Leech Seed heals us up a little bit. We're going to switch out for Baby Sect. He uses Thrash, which is really good. He gets poisoned, which is a bit like Deja Vu. He then uses Thrash again to do some good damage. We use Giga Drain, which isn't very effective. Leech Seed doing its thing, and then Poison taking out his Gyarados. So a good combination there. He's now going to bring down out his Rhyhorn, which we use 1 Giga Drain for to take it out almost in one. He then uses Rock Tomb to lower our speed and do some great damage. He heals up with Full Restore, which we use Giga Drain again for, and that takes it out in one, I believe. No, it doesn't take it out in one. It heals up again, which we use Spore for as we've run out, and we're going to have to switch now. Almost took him out in 1-2 times, but we move to Baby Trapped. We use Razor Leaf, and that takes it out of one because it's more effective apparently. Then bringing out Baby Sect for his final Exetor Pokemon. He uses Light Screen, we use Spore to turn him asleep, and we're going to go for Slash as he's got a high critical ratio, so hopefully we can take it out. Using quite a few slashes here to whittle his health down, maybe one more slash. He has such a smidge of health. We're going to switch out for Baby Poach. He wakes up, uses Sleep Powder. Now I thought potentially he was going to use a Full Restore, which is why I switched out, because I was going to go for an Explosion. So he didn't. He actually used Sleep Powder, making us asleep. So we get a Spore in again after Baby Poach dies with Baby Sect, and we use one more slash. And the rival goes down, so we have defeated this game with only Grass-type babies. No items or hold items. Didn't find Everstone in the end because we didn't catch enough Pokemon. I'd say this was just as challenging and fun as Emerald was, but with the gyms being early on in Emerald harder than the gyms were on this version. Now, I do appreciate that you can fight the Elite Four and Champion again, but due to the nature of having to train up 5 Pokemon rather than just 1 on my solo challenges, I haven't added that in. Or am I working on something? Who knows? I'll see you on the next one, guys. Thanks for watching, like and subscribe. This is how I would personally rate the team through their effectiveness throughout the game. If you agree, let me know in the comments below. And again, thanks for joining me on this episode. It was a lot of fun, and I'll see you on the next one.